LA Kings fans are divided on what to expect this season. We'll share their thoughts and more on this fan feedback edition of Locked On LA Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily podcast on the Los Angeles Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, Kings fans, welcome to Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On LA Kings your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. I'm Eddie Garcia, your host of Locked On LA Kings. I've worked in sports media. I've also talked for a living, apparently, for the past 30 years. Also co-host of the Puck Podcast, a weekly NHL review show, now in its 19th year, and a passionate LA Kings fan for over 30 years. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. It is time for another Kings fan feedback show. Your chance to complain, praise, question, celebrate, and pontificate about our Los Angeles Kings. Let's waste no time and get right into it. Our first email, it comes from Scott. He is in Anaheim, and he says, from last summer to now, I keep hearing the same thing about the Kings organization. We are a cup contender for the next couple of years, and we just need to tinker with the roster a little. It got me wondering why the Kings see the team like that, even though experts and fans don't see the team in the same place. The only thing that is changing in the next few years is that Kopitar will retire and maybe Doughty. If you look at this team without Kopitar, are we even in the playoffs? I don't think so. And I get why the Kings are pushing hard for this window. Assuming that is true, Holland has done a very poor job this summer. I give him a solid D-, as Kuzmenko's contract is the only good thing he's done so far. Gavrikov should be a King right now, no matter what. The length of the contract does not matter if you are committed to winning before Kopitar retires. Not one person thinks the Kings are better without Gavrikov on the team. Holland failed hard on this one. Holland then fills up the roster with vets. Okay, I guess, but why do it this in the summer? Why not wait till the trade deadline? Why spend all the cap space on marginal upgrades? How should any player under the age of 25 feel about these moves? Holland has painted the 2026 Kings into a corner with little room to fix any mistakes or grow. Holland's one big move this season was to fire Hiller. It will happen, but that doesn't fix the underlying problem Holland has brought to this team. No trust, no chemistry, no playoffs. I fear a long season and one that will not help us get closer to the cup. Kopitar retiring after the season, and the rebuild starts next year with all the vets. Good luck with that. 2 head coaches fired during that time. A lame duck GM with no power after this year. Fail. Good news is we trade Perry back to the Oilers for a first-round pick, and the Oilers fail in the Stanley Cup final to the Rangers. It's like watching a person buy $1,000 of lottery tickets, hoping they will win, but really they will lose it all. Holland has the cash in his hand at the liquor store, and we are all on the ride with him. Sigh, go Kings, go. P.S. Only 2 general managers led their team to Stanley Cup victories in their first season as GM. Charlie Query of the Toronto Arenas in 1918 and Pierre Lacroix of the Colorado Avalanche in 1996. I'm familiar with Pierre Lacroix. The other guy, not so much. Anyway, that was Scott in Anaheim. Okay, starting off negative, but I get it. I would say about Gavrikov, I obviously don't know the details of the negotiations with him, but it seems like he wanted to be a Ranger for whatever reason. So if you're Ken Holland and somebody doesn't want to sign with your team and wants to go to another team, what do? Do you make him some ridiculous offer that he can't refuse? Is that what you want to do to get somebody to stay here? Maybe, I don't know. But I will just say, if the Rangers offered Gavrikov the deal they offered him and Holland didn't try and match it or give him a little more, then he does deserve to be criticized, because $7 million a year for Gavrikov is very fair. So if that's the case, then I absolutely would also criticize Ken Holland for that, but I don't know that that's definitely the case. I'm not sure. It's possible that the Kings offered him more and he wanted to go to New York. It's possible. So, yes, I agree. The Kings defensive core, not as good without Gavrikov, but I also don't think that Vladislav Gavrikov was this irreplaceable piece on the defense that it's all going to go to hell now that he's not there. Not, is it as good? No. But is it going to be a disaster now? No, I don't think so. Because of how the Kings play team defense. They're still a good team defensive player. You can absorb losing a guy. Now, they don't have much depth there. Hopefully, there's no injuries. But we saw, Drew Doughty goes down in the preseason, and a lot of us thought that was going to be a big issue. It didn't turn out to be a big issue. So we'll see. Holland didn't spend all the Kings cap space. They still have $6.7 million in cap space. Now, $3 million of that or so will go to Alex Laferriere. So they'll still have $3.7 million left. So there's still some money there. You did ask, how would any player under 25 feel about these moves? I assume you're saying that as if younger players are now being kept from being on the NHL roster because of these veteran guys. But who's the guy that's being held back because of these moves? At least for now, there's nobody in the Kings organization that's knocking on the door or is being denied a roster spot in the NHL because of Cody Ceci or guys like that. The good young players in the Kings organization are on the Kings roster: Byfield, Clark, Laferriere. So as far as you said, the Kings aren't making the playoffs. I don't see losing Vladislav Gavrikov and Jordan Spence equaling to the team going from comfortably in the playoffs to now out of the playoffs. I don't see that, but we'll see. Bill in Winnetka, Czech City says Kopitar is the king of all time, period. His offense, his longevity is well known. While he does get credit for his defensive prowess, maybe 5-10 years ago, he was absolutely sublime. Plays don't develop and goals aren't scored and penalties are not taken because Anže is in the right position or in the right lane defensively. It's hard to judge a person's ability by what doesn't happen, but Anže is the king of, we had a good rush, but Kopitar was back and got in the way, end quote. Now to the thought experiment with Cody Ceci. Not saying they will or should happen. Just run with this if you like. Number one, whether or not we like it, Cody is paid as if he's a second pairing defenseman. If he is, should Anderson play with Cody while Clark plays with Drew? Sort of a 1A, 1B situation. Every contract is tradable, including Cody Ceci. As it stands, Akil is completely blocked from the NHL at the moment. Somewhere during the season, trade Ceci and Akil. Probably will have to eat some money to a low cap hit team and get a more mobile defenseman or a draft pick, perhaps at the trade deadline. Point here is they are all options. That was Bill in Winnetka. Certainly agree as far as Anže Kopitar being the greatest king of all time. I've said it for many years now. No argument there. As for Cody Ceci, I will agree he's getting paid like a second pairing defenseman. But if they play him on the second pairing and they leave Clark on the third pairing, then I will be very vocal against that. And it would go against what the Kings have said in that Clark needs to have a bigger role in the team this year. He's not going to be able to do that playing on the third pairing. You mentioned Ceci being tradable. I guess anyone's tradable, but I don't know that anyone, as you said, the Kings would probably have to eat some of that contract. Why would they trade him? I mean, they brought him over for the playoffs. They think he's an upgrade from Jordan Spence for playoff hockey. So why would they trade him at the trade deadline? It doesn't really make any sense. And as for Akil Thomas being blocked from being the NHL, I mean, the way the Kings have upgraded the fourth line, Akil Thomas may not even be on the NHL roster this year. And if he is, he's only going to play if somebody gets hurt. He barely played last year, and the Kings have upgraded on the fourth line. So I don't know what the future is like for Akil Thomas. He's just a depth guy at this point. Mort in Oregon, Czech City says, I am perennially positive Kings fan and liked the offseason moves this past year and or last year and feel the same this year. This year's moves are as unpopular as the Joel Edmondson move, and I get it. Hear me out, Kings fans. We are a high-tax state and have to delve out term and overpay compared to other win-now teams in tax-friendly states like Vegas and Florida. Kings needed more size and bottom end depth. Our fourth line is now big, experienced, and can be trusted in the playoffs. Same goes for Dumoulin, Cup winner, and Ceci, who is beloved in the locker room everywhere he goes and still can skate above average. They together make a great third pairing, albeit overpaid. Forsberg is an upgrade at number 2 in net and should get more games than Riddick did, which should help Kemper come playoff time. It was costly and unpopular, but the Kings improved, and the hurdle that the Oilers did not. Big picture, the mix of youth and win now vets is as good as it gets in the league. Stay positive and go Kings go. And that was Mort in Oregon, who obviously has a different feeling on the offseason. I would say whoever is going to play in Gabrikov's spot is going to be a step down, whether it's Edmondson or Dumoulin. But I still think they can be good enough. It's not as good, but I think it'll be okay. I do agree the Kings' fourth line and the third pairing are likely improved. I will agree they are overpaid, especially the third pairing. If it is Dumoulin and Edmondson, or excuse me, Dumoulin and CC or CC and Edmondson. I don't know about Forsberg. We'll see. But what we're going to need is guys like Clark and Byfield to take a step forward. I think the rest of the guys will be okay, but we do need those guys to take a step forward too. Don L in North Hollywood says, "Are you ready, Eddie? He's coming to the Reign this fall. He's 6'2", 220 pounds, and he has the reputation for having prestigious strength. Not a ton of offense there, but he could be effective in a shutdown side of things. It's 22-year-old Kirill Krisanov, who turns 23 in September. Worst case scenario, he can't make it past the AHL. Best case, muscular shutdown D-man who can be encouraged to punish opponents and could join our team as the seventh defenseman by fall 2026. He's been playing against adults in Russia since he was 18, so the maturity of the AHL opposition should not be difficult for him to handle. Can he handle the tempo? Can he move the puck well enough? Those are questions that will have to be answered. As a shutdown-style D-man from the KHL, the smaller ice surface here may actually help him a bit, but helping him close on opposing offensive players a bit quicker. But we'll see. Remember, he was picked by Mark Yannetti, and Yannetti knows his D-men and has made many smart picks for the Kings blue line. Anyway, Krisanov is an interesting player to watch this fall and could possibly even be a pleasant surprise. And that was Don L. in North Hollywood. All right, Don, we will definitely keep an eye out on Kirill Krisanov this season for the Ontario Reign, and hopefully he does well and could be an option for the Kings in the near future. He was a third-round pick by the Kings in 2021 and is playing his first North American pro hockey this coming season. Just getting started on the emails. We've got more to come here on Locked On LA Kings, your team every day. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to the ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, and even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices in the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and the lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On Major League Baseball, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming game for the Dodgers or the Angels. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Our next email comes from Matt, and he says, it's Matt from the Parade. And if you don't remember, Matt emailed us recently. I met him when he was a kid at the Kings 2021 Stanley Cup Parade. He had called into Kings Talk the day before, the couple of days before, which I was hosting, and he's all grown up now. He's I think he's a college graduate now, so he's not little Matt anymore. He's much bigger Matt. But anyway, that's a story between Matt and myself. He says, I got a bit of a change-up topic for you to talk about to space out all of the fan feedback about Perry and CC signings during the offseason. It was major news in the past couple of weeks that Gavin McKenna, projected first-round pick in the 2026 draft, committed to Penn State for the upcoming season. I can't help but think what a commit like that could have been for a school like USC or UCLA. As someone that chose the university I study and root for the hockey team, I love college hockey very much. Now with major junior players being able to play in college, it's a necessity for college hockey to expand, and USC and UCLA are in a better situation than most to do so. The main limitation for every new program is the money, $30 million upfront minimum. My question overall is, would it be worth it, and would it be received well by USC, UCLA, and hockey fans in Southern California? I think it could have a positive effect on hockey as a whole in the area. Sports as a whole is a completely different era than when the Ice Dogs were here. Not to mention, it would give us fans an alternate team to go watch when we were mad at the Kings and don't want to go all the way to see the Reign. Hope your own summer is going better than our fan base. Anytime, every time, and no matter what, go Kings go. And that was from Matt. Matt mentioned Penn State. You may or may not know, it was not that long ago that they were not a Division I hockey program. But as Matt mentioned, it is mostly all about money. Terry Pagula is a Penn State graduate. He owns the Buffalo Sabres and the Buffalo Bills. He is a gazillionaire, and he decided, I'm going to make a hockey program at my alma mater, Penn State. And he did. He put out all the money to build an arena and to fund men's and women's hockey at Penn State. And they were in the Frozen Four last year, which, if you don't know, is the national semifinals of college hockey. And that's been done in the last less than 20 years, I'm pretty sure. So it can be done. I think it would be amazing for hockey in Southern California if USC or UCLA or both somehow decided they wanted to have Division I hockey programs. I mean, it is hard to believe there isn't a USC or UCLA billionaire out there that could help back and fund programs. If Arizona State can do it, I see no reason why USC or UCLA couldn't do it. I think it would be amazing. I would absolutely love to see it. I got no connection to either school, really. And I would absolutely love to see a Division I hockey program at USC or UCLA. Absolutely, count me in. I think that would be awesome. It would be great for hockey in Southern California. Mike in La Habra checking in. He says, hello, Eddie, everyday listener, first-time emailer. I have been a Kings fan since the mid-'70s and always, hopefully always will be. Anyway, just a few thoughts going forward. In my opinion, the Kings hockey culture sucks and is only getting worse. It's no wonder good players don't want to play here. From the head coach, whose buffoonery was on full display during the playoffs, to the harmonica honeys playing the national anthem. And let's not forget a cartoon character, Cartman, trying to get the fans going during play stoppage. It's a joke. This is supposed to be hockey. The Kings are soft and weak and have been for years. Was reading an article this week about how the Kings enforcement will be done by committee. Give me a break. They can play physical for a game or two, but never a 7-game series and never multiple series. They did get bigger, but also slower and older. As far as Katy Perry, like you said, I can't stand him. I will never root for him, even if he scores a goal for the Kings. My worst nightmare is he scores the game-winning goal to win the cup. It would be a typical Perry move. Not sure if the Kings schedule will have a game on Mother's Day, but that would be a good night to have a Perry bobblehead giveaway. I love Kopi and Drew, but that ship has sailed. Hopefully we'll re-sign Kempe. There's been talk about giving him the C this year. I actually think they will let Kopi finish with the C, and rightfully so, then give it to Doughty for hopefully his last year, and then give it to Kempe for the rest of his contract. Anyway, I know this was more of a gripe session, but look forward to the hockey season. Hopefully it will be a surprise. And as always, go Kings go. And not in the Cartman voice. That was Mike in La Habra. Oh, Mike. Mike, you are certainly of a certain generation, and I can understand not liking Eric Cartman, I guess. But the harmonica ladies, how dare you, sir? So what is your definition of a good hockey culture? I mean, this is supposed to be entertainment, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I don't mind a good hockey fight every now and then. But the quality of hockey in today's game is so much better than it was 30 years ago when they were gooning it up and it was hooking and holding and grabbing. So, I mean, I don't want to see hockey regress to what it once was. Sorry, it's not that. I mean, like I said, a good fight every now and then, fine. But it's a better game now. It is. If Corey Perry scores the game-winning goal in the Stanley Cup final, that might be the one time I would actually have to cheer for him. I mean, I don't like him, but that's an extreme case. If Corey Perry scores the game-winning goal in the Stanley Cup final, I will concede I'll have to cheer for him in that scenario. Like, you got to be hard-ass core to not cheer for him if he does that. I mean, really? I mean, that is extreme, my man. Kempe's not getting the C this year, and he's not getting it as long as Kopitar or Doughty are on the team. Now, after that, maybe. And if so, fine with me. But he's not getting the C as long as Kopitar and Doughty are on the team. So that's not going to happen. Wilson in Quebec City checking in. He says, hey, Eddie, been a while, but I've been watching the podcast and waiting for a little time before I weigh in on Ken Holland's work so far. Unlike Blake, some work was done on July 1st, and I believe the choices that were made, though not perfect, were very positive. Losing Spence is a non-issue. Problem is the return, C- grade there. Losing Gavrikov hurts, but offers were made to him and they were turned down. He'll soon find out taxes in New York are like California. I give that a no rating. Not getting Marner the whiner, he will soon find out what playing in the West is not like playing in the East. We'll still have some cap space to make moves when the time comes. I give that an A. Dumoulin, CC, Forsberg, good acquisitions. Do not underestimate Cody CC. He knows a lot of people are talking, and he is also sitting in the room with Kopi and Doughty, which by itself elevates everyone's game. I give those moves a B minus. Armia, LA is going to love this guy. That's an A. Okay, our friend Corey Perry. Put the past behind and think of the team. 40-year-old and one of the best performers in the playoffs last year. He's annoying to no end. He's got grit. The team needs players like that. Love him or hate him, I say, Corey, welcome to LA. B+ grade. Go Kings, go. Wilson in Quebec City. I do agree about Armia and grudgingly about Perry. The other moves, I'd give a C. Like I said, if CC's on the third pairing, I think he should be fine. If he's on the second pairing, I would have a problem with that. Again, because that also means that Clark would be on the third pairing. It was mentioned earlier, somebody had said about the pairings, and somebody had said Doughty and Clark together. They're both right shot defensemen, so the Kings don't want them playing on the same side, so they would not be paired together. And Clark, I guess he could play on his offside, but as a guy who's developing, I think you want to put him in the best possible situation for him to succeed. Scott in Simi Valley says, love the show, love your content, but hate our team's direction. It's time to scale back my Kings fandom to just watching games. But first, I wanted to re-up my last email and say that absolutely 1,000%, in my opinion, Kings ownership needs to hold their managers more accountable or sell the franchise to someone who will. And Luke Robitaille, Ken Holland, and Jim Hiller all have to go. Also, most of your YouTube hosts who've laughed at or strongly questioned Ken Holland's moves with raised eyebrows and bemused smirks are not nameless blowhards, and this is easily verified. Examples include Russell Morgan and Hockey Royalty, former Ranger GM Neil Smith, SDPN, Oilers Nation, Flames Nation, etc., etc., etc. Even some Locked On NHL episodes you yourself co-hosted. Ken Holland and the Kings truly are the laughing stock of the NHL. Of course, none of the criticism would matter if it were BS, but it is clear that the organization is being poorly managed. We have the resources to excel, but not the brains. I know Holland tried for Marner and Rasmus Anderson, but he also kept Jim Hiller, gave Spence away for dirt cheap, and signed miserably bloated contracts for Cody Ceci and Anton Forsberg. What kind of extremely experienced, savvy veteran NHL GM would make those boneheaded moves? Only Ken Holland, apparently. Can the Kings at least re-sign Kempe and Laferriere, or will Juice be the next domino to fall in the Kings' talent exodus? First, Blake lost Matt Roy for nothing, and now even Blake and Holland combined couldn't re-sign Gavrikov. Now I'm nervous about Kempe leaving. Eddie, would not surprise me at all. Thanks for all you do. Keep up the great work, Scott in Simi Valley. Well, Scott, I will be shocked if the Kings do not re-sign Adrian Kempe. If that doesn't happen, then I will be on the Fire Holland train. But I think that will happen. I get the optics of this offseason have not been great. And I certainly, on some shows I was on, said that they did nothing exciting this offseason, which is true. I don't know that they're the laughing stock of the NHL. I think that's a bit much. But even if they are, honestly, who cares? I mean, don't get me wrong. We can all have our opinions now and express our opinions, just like the people on the shows you mentioned. But does any of it really mean anything? It really doesn't. And for example, I was one of a number of people who said last year the Nashville Predators were Stanley Cup contenders because of all these amazing, exciting moves they made in the offseason. And you know what happened? They missed the playoffs. I mean, so what happens in the offseason? We can all talk about it. We can all have our opinions about it, and that's fine, and you should. But in the end, it doesn't really matter, and we don't really know until we see it. So we'll see. We'll see if these offseason moves work or not. And frankly, we won't know until the playoffs next season. So we'll see. We'll all see together. We got a final group of emails coming up. We'll share them with you next on Locked In LA Kings, your team every day. Dylan in San Diego checking in. He says, I just looked at the Athletics top 100 NHL prospects list, and I was slightly surprised to see only Liam Greentree on there, or even more surprised to see he wasn't really a highly regarded prospect to them, specifically implying his third place in the league point total was because of his teammate Ilya Protist, who finished second. Would you chalk that up to national media coverage where the pundits don't know as much as they say they do, or do we as Kings fans hold them in a far better light than we should? I was also surprised that neither George nor Slukinski was on the list, considering to my knowledge, they're two of the best goalie prospects out there. Do goalies just not get the same attention and respect as position players? Or once again, do we have rose-tinted shades on because they're ours? Either way, I'm excited to see all three of them shine this year, whatever level they end up at. Thanks as always for excellent work, and go Kings go. That's Dylan in San Diego. Well, for some reason, that athletic article, they split up the skaters and the goalies in two separate articles. So they had the top 100 skaters, and then they had the top 20 goalie prospects. And George and Slukinski were both in the top 20 goalie prospects. I don't know why they separate them. I don't know why they wouldn't just have the top 100 prospects regardless of position. I would have liked to have seen that. I would like to have seen where they ranked in that. I'm sure they both would have been in the top 100 if it was a combined, all positions. As for Liam Greentree, I agree. I said it earlier in the week when I was talking about this. I'm not an expert on this, but I think he's higher than number 47 as far as the top 100 prospects in the NHL. Brian in Los Alamitos checks in. He says, I heard on last night's show that Adrian Kempe is seeking a contract that pays him $10 million per year. For me, this is an automatic yes. I just hope Ken Holland doesn't screw this up by trying to make a statement as the new GM by appearing as a tough, no-nonsense negotiator. I just don't want this to drag into the season or worse, next year's offseason. As you said, Kempe's been underpaid with his current contract, and I'm almost positive he played for less money to help the Kings with the promise of being rewarded in the future. Well, the future is now. Kempe has been productive offensively and appears to be a respected teammate and leader in the dressing room. And if it's true that LA is not a destination of choice for NHLers, why not hold on to the few who want to stay here? Thanks for another great week of shows and interviews. Go Kings go, Brian in Los Alamitos. Brian, agree 100%, especially the part about don't let this drag into the season or beyond. Get it done this offseason. Yes, maybe the Kings have a hard time getting free agents to come here. I agree. Absolutely. If you have players, especially if they are homegrown, drafted and developed as Kings and want to stay here, you absolutely have to keep those guys. So Adrian Kempe, hopefully that gets done soon. Andy in Guelph says, another great week of listening. A bit disappointed. Boehm Byram re-signed in Buffalo as I had dreamed that LA would move Edmondson out and then acquire Byram. Now I'm truly convinced that this will be the roster. Forward-wise, I think they're in good shape, and I expect Byfield and Kuzmenko to make a big difference. I also believe in the Fiala we saw in the second half and in the playoffs. I think the Kings will be good offensively. I do think the D can hold up and by committee keep us a good defensive team. We'll have cap space for the trade deadline, so that's good. I'll be at the game in Toronto on November 13th to cheer on the squad. Quick ask for you or any Canadian-based listeners. I want to get a new premium or authentic jersey. I find the access in Canada be exceptionally hard for the Kings. Any ideas or sites or reputable companies to purchase? I'm avoiding US-based options due to the tariff situation. Go Kings go, Andy in Guelph. Andy, as far as the jersey situation, if you want to pay me to get you a jersey from the Kings store and mail it to you, I'd be more than willing to do that. Contact me off the air, if you will, if that's something that can help you out. As for Boehm Byram, he did sign a 2-year deal with Buffalo, $6.25 million per season. Now, he does not have a no-trade clause, so he could still be traded. Now, it doesn't seem likely at all that they'll do that now, but, maybe at the trade deadline, if Buffalo's terrible again, who knows? We'll see. Brian in Tampa says, Emily was so awesome on the fan show. I can't believe a hockey podcast made me tear up. Go Kings go and go Emily go. And Ryan in Moore Park says, I just finished listening to your great show with Emily. I really loved her story. It was inspiring and a true testament to how impactful sports can be. I hope she knows the whole fan base has her back. You said it best. The Kings are lucky to have her as a fan. Hope we can get more fans on this offseason. Thanks, Eddie and Emily. That was Ryan in Moore Park and Brian in Tampa. I hope you guys, if you didn't check out the interview this past week with Kings fan Emily Garl, check it out. I think you will absolutely feel the same way that Ryan and Brian did as well. Ed in Brea wraps it up. He says, just want to say some quick stuff. Anton Forsberg is an upgrade at backup goalie. Career 901 save percentage. And before Ullmark took over, he handled the starting duties in Ottawa. So he's a good, serviceable backup since he can help win more games than David Riddick did. This means Portillo and Copley will be the Ontario tandem unless we use one of the goalies as a trade piece. As for Andrei Kopitar, I'm not surprised if this is his last season. A career LA King, top 3 with Dion and Luke. As far as for Dion, all-time Kings points mark in franchise history, and that was Ed in Brea. Ed did mention that his uncle passed away after a battle with cancer. Condolences, Ed. My family's going through some tough cancer battles with family members as well, so not fun, and sorry for your loss. Andrei Kopitar, 30 points away from passing Marcel Dion to be the highest scoring Kings player in franchise history. So hopefully we have that to look forward to this season, whether it's his last year or not, we'll see. As far as Anton Forsberg being an upgrade over David Riddick, I don't think career save percentage is the evidence to prove that, because Riddick actually has a better career save percentage than Anton Forsberg. But last year, Forsberg's save percentage was better than Riddick, which was below 900. And Riddick was on a better defensive team than Forsberg. So maybe that would be some better evidence or stats to kind of prove your case. We'll see about Forsberg. I'm not sure. I think that he'll be better in net behind a better defensive team, but I'm not completely confident in that. We'll have to wait and see. Thank you to everyone who took the time to email this show this week, which is not possible. This show is literally not possible without your participation. If you would like to get us an email for future shows, the email address is lockedoneddie@gmail.com, EDDIE. Always appreciate if you're watching on YouTube, leaving some comments in the comments section. And if you want to stay interactive with the show, follow us on X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We are at Locked On LA Kings. And if you want some extra Kings content and to support your host, send me an email, lakingsextra@gmail.com for details. We're actually going to have a live chat this weekend if anybody's interested in that. lakingsextra@gmail.com. I'm Eddie Garcia. Thank you for listening and watching this episode of Locked On LA Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Have a great rest of your day. We will talk to you next time. And as always, go Kings, go.